Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be going over some product updates for spring 2017 for Wowza products. My name is James Jackson. I'm the Director of Product Marketing. I'm here with Evan Paul, one of the other Directors of Product Marketing, and Jamie Sherry, who is a Senior Product Manager and Product Owner of Wowza Server products. So we just wanted to go over really quickly with you the most recent product updates to Wowza Streaming Cloud, Wowza Streaming Engine, and the rest of the product portfolio. Thanks, Jamie and Evan, for joining here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So a couple of things that we're going to go over today is in terms of Wowza, in terms of simplifying the ability to scale for global delivery. And first we want to start talking about that. So we've simplified the actual ability to deliver to Wowza CDN in terms of very much more seamless way through Wowza Streaming Engine Manager. We've also added certification for MPEG-DASH delivery from Wowza Streaming Engine to Akamai. In addition to that, we've added additional capabilities for options to be able to deliver globally. And so now we have a predefined Alibaba CDN target. And then within Wowza Streaming Cloud, we have the ability to give you a little bit more flexibility for global delivery on the ingest standpoint from Wowza Streaming Cloud, where you can actually relocate transcoders. In terms of actual simplified global delivery, one of the things we've done is we've made it easier to actually deliver through Wowza CDN from Wowza Streaming Engine. Some of the stuff we've added, so in the past, the capability required a separate login, so you had to go to Wowza Streaming Cloud as a separate login to actually enable the capability. But we've actually removed this requirement, so you can actually deliver straight from Wowza Streaming Engine with one login, add your credentials for cloud, and you can actually go on and continue to deliver directly through Engine Manager. With this, you can push HLS globally, auto-scaling. Capabilities for that have not changed, but with this, it's a very end-to-end optimized global delivery for streaming globally with HLS using Wowza end-to-end, literally through Engine through cloud. In terms of simplified global end-to-end streaming, so just to really quickly, we're going to go through a demo at the end of this to actually go through setting up one of the streams within Wowza Streaming Engine Manager to push to Wowza CDN. But once again, as this predefined stream target, you can actually configure it directly. And so this is actually a view of what the interface looks like to be able to do that. And so literally with this, inside of Manager, you go ahead and click, and you can actually select Wowza CDN as your stream target. Use the login credentials that were created when you set up your account, and you can go ahead and push outbound literally through a single interface. Some other things we've added as well. So specifically when we're looking at streaming MPEG-DASH globally, so Dash, there really are no workflow changes to actually do this, but it's just at this point in time, we are now certified to be able to deliver globally using MPEG-DASH from Engine through Akamai as your CDN. Using the existing Akamai predefined stream target, the same Wowza highly compliant, still the gold standard of streaming to be able to push outbound, giving you more capabilities as far as making sure you're compliant with European requirements. And MPEG-DASH, we know is one of the things that's actually required for premium content workflows for things like common encryption and 4K streaming for those higher quality experiences like the 360 VR experiences, or even just streaming in 4K. In addition to that, some of the things we've had, we talked about this, lots of choices being able to deliver into more regions. As part of this, we've added a predefined stream target for Alibaba CDN. Alibaba CDN has global ingest points, but one of the places where it really shines is the ability to deliver your content and scale out in China is one of the fastest growing markets. Over 500 nodes they have within the China region, covering lots of carriers, China Telco, China Mobile, CERN, Great Wall, and the likes, with more than 500 nodes, each of those nodes with 40 gigabits per second of egress capacity. So a lot of great capability there to actually deliver and add an additional stream target. So once again, still same great functionality with Wowza Streaming Engine in terms of being able to deliver to multiple stream targets in multiple regions. Another great way to seamlessly and very easily expand your streaming into more locations. One of the other things we've added to as well, within Wowza Streaming Cloud, obviously it's a global platform, scales seamlessly and effortlessly. We've added the capability to actually relocate a transcoder. So a general good practice when you're setting up your streams, you want to have your transcoder as close as possible, either geographically and logically, to your actual source, so wherever your camera is or your encoder is. But as you're building out more complex workflows, automated workflows, it's always, and we're getting in much more of a global environment, those incoming streams for your applications may be coming from different regions. And so we've literally added the capability to actually move those transcoders. In the past, you've had to literally create a new stream with a different location, but now you can actually move that transcoder to a different location. Not only you can do this through the UI, but you can do it through the API too as well, in terms of issuing that patch to the transcoder with the ID. And so whether or not you're doing this through a UI for a single stream or as you move to issue your streams from different locations, you can also do this programmatically as part of an application that you've built on top of Wowza Streaming Cloud as well. And so a great capability. This capability you could use to leverage things. So if you wanted to actually develop something that was the automated ability to move these or to auto-detect that location, you could actually build that capability on top of Wowza Streaming Cloud to offer seamless and very simple ingest from multiple locations around the globe. One of the other things we've talked about with this particular release, or the things we've been working on since December of 2016, is the ability just to simplify workflows, so making it a lot easier to do things. And so some of the capabilities we've added around the idea of workflow simplification would include, we've integrated Wowza Streaming Engine and Player with VOD as well as the live stream. So in the past, we had done a simplified integration from Wowza Streaming Engine Manager to Player, but we've added the VOD, the on-demand capabilities to that. End-to-end secure HLS streams, so now you can actually build those end-to-end secure HLS streams going from engine to cloud and know that you're end-to-end secure HLS. We've added, through a partner, a React Native wrapper to GoCoder SDK. We'll talk a little bit about that as well, but once again, simplifying the ability to build your own customized mobile live streaming applications and deliver those very quickly. So another great capability there. We have introduced, and now we have coming into general availability, the Media DS appliance in conjunction with NewTek that allows the simplified delivery of global streams from your location, extending your actual production center with that particular product. One of the things we add too as well is we've simplified the ability to deliver both secure and non-secure HLS streams in a very seamless way from Wowza Streaming Cloud. So talking a little bit about the on-demand workflow, last year, around September, we introduced Wowza Player in terms of the ability to actually deliver LS streams, HDTV streams, with a single source, so literally going end-to-end, utilizing Wowza Player to do that. We continue to actually make that easier to use. It's a very simple, robust platform for doing things, but one of the things we've done with this particular release is integrated that with the on-demand workflows through Wowza Streaming Engine Manager. So with Wowza Streaming Engine Manager now, once again, through a single interface, you can go in, you can actually generate those on-demand URLs, you can actually launch Player, and you can actually populate Player with those URLs to greatly simplify your workflow and actually generate that embed code so that you can actually deliver those streams in a very seamless, very easy format. One of the other great things that we really had and seems to be getting great success, including over 300 downloads in the very first week of availability, through one of our partners, Metal Mobile, we now have the ability to give people a React Native wrapper for GoCoder SDK. So people wanting to actually use GoCoder SDK, it's been very widely accepted and very well received. We've added the ability for a React Native wrapper for that. And so what the React Native wrapper does is people that are actually already familiar with coding in JavaScript frameworks, Node, Angular, they can actually very quickly leverage those same skills in a wrapper that's free for download, and it's supported by our partner from GitHub.com. A wrapper that allows you to use those same JavaScript skills to very quickly develop native iOS and Android applications that will actually support delivery of live streaming using the GoCoder SDK underlying framework to ensure compatibility with lots of Android and iOS devices, platforms, handheld devices. But you can actually deliver those applications very, very quickly, leveraging the skills that your development department already has. So your app developers in-house that are already familiar in those JS frameworks, including sample code, sample projects are all available on GitHub.com. Those are free to use for anybody that has their GoCoder SDK license. And so another great way to really accelerate the development lifecycle and be able to get to market quickly and further extending those capabilities that were already there in GoCoder SDK. One of the great things we have coming outbound we're going with is the Media DS, which we have developed in conjunction with New Tech. Evan, I wanted to hand it off to you for a little bit and just allow you to say a couple words about the actual functionality, what it provides for folks, and just the product in general itself.
Sure, thanks, James. This device, developed jointly between Wowza and New Tech, is a great bridge between the production facility and the distribution of streaming material. You're able to plug in SDI or NDI sources, do some light production, and then deliver that stream internally behind the firewall as you might see fit, or outside to social media platforms or the built-in player that we have within the machine. Like I said, it's a really nice bridge between that production and delivery, and has up to 1080p resolution on it. I think that's the basics. Jamie, did I miss anything?
No, I think you covered it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The exciting news is that you can buy that directly from Wowza as of this morning. If you want to go to our website, wowza.com/product/MediaDS, you can add it to your cart and buy it from us today.
All right, that's great, Evan. Thanks. Appreciate that. So really great news with that, the ability to simplify the delivery of a great encoding, packaging, and delivery solution, all in one in a nice, clean rack-mounted enclosure. One of the things we also talked about in terms of actually simplifying delivery, a capability that we've added with Wowza Streaming Cloud is the ability to dynamically switch between HTTP and HTTPS. Now, in the past, when you're configuring your streams, there were 3 selections here, and so there was the HLS, HDS, Apple HLS, and then the secure Apple HLS. We've simplified that down to 1. The way this functionality works is it's going to actually auto-detect based upon where you're actually embedding that particular stream. If you're doing that within a secure website, the actual workflow is going to detect that, and it's actually going to deliver end-to-end secure HLS. If you're doing in one that is not secure, then we'll just be in standard HLS. And so a very flexible way of delivering. It allows it just a much more simple way of delivering things to go ahead and auto-detect and be able to deliver that capability seamlessly where you know it's going to work both in your secure and your unsecured websites without you having to actually worry about switching back and forth, being able to having to configure that on your own, actually shift midstream, or even set up multiple streams. So very great way of simplifying that particular workflow for delivery of secure HLS, but making sure that it's going to work in other websites where you include that if you do not have those on a secured HTTP stream website. Some other things that we've got coming up. So we've been working on a lot in terms of events and promotions we've got coming up. Next week at Streaming Media East, in conjunction with a consultant of ours, Robert Reinhardt, the Stream Doctor, we will be doing our Streaming Ninja workshop, talking about Wowza modules, and so it's one of the things that we've gotten a lot of questions about, but we'll be going through end-to-end development delivery, and shortly after that, we will actually be making those into video assets that you'll be able to view as well. And in addition to that, we're going to be doing a discovery track on delivering 360 and VR streams, trends in those particular areas, as well as a hands-on session in terms of actually we'll take you through setting up some of those VR 360 streams, as well as an additional session that we'll be doing on low latency in terms of actually delivering those streams, what those streams look like, your ability to actually deliver those things, and actually get them up and running quickly, and the types of trade-offs that you'll have to do to deliver low latency streams. Following Streaming Media East, the week of June 19th, we will be hosting the Developer Week Hackathon in Brooklyn, New York. As part of that, we will be hosting a couple of challenges with prizes associated with that, so cash prizes as well as tech device prizes. In addition to that, we'll be doing a developer workshop in conjunction with our partner Metal Mobile in terms of actually how to quickly get up and running with live streaming workflows, including development of your own live streaming mobile application. So once again, we'll record those assets and make them available as well. Other things that we've got going right now, so we've got new CDN pricing available now. So Wowza CDN, a very flat rate across the globe, currently at 5.5 cents per gigabyte. We have just released and announced that, and so great pricing to go ahead and get you pay-as-you-go pricing without large commitments to deliver your streams globally through the Wowza CDN. We have a promotion that we've been running now with GoCoder SDK and Wowza Streaming Engine. So with purchase of a GoCoder SDK, you can get a free perpetual license of Wowza Streaming Engine. So great value, $2,000 value of that Wowza Streaming Engine perpetual license with the purchase of a GoCoder SDK. So if you're building a streaming workflow that involves wanting to do live streaming from a iOS or Android platform for your users, great value there to be able to get that GoCoder SDK license and get your Wowza Streaming Engine perpetual license free. And as always, we have custom pricing. So if you have a workflow where that involves something in terms of a very small footprint but a very large number of users, or other types of things where you're doing large streaming, please feel free to contact us, and we'd be happy to sit down and talk with you and work through that in terms of actually building custom pricing for you. So, I don't know, were you able to see any questions? Do we have any questions in right now?
We have one that just came in. Is Streaming Media East 15th, 17th an online webinar? I have questions about low latency, as I see there's a hands-on session about low latency, because I honestly don't dare ask my stupid question here. I'm afraid you don't have to worry about that.
Well, I would say don't worry about stupid questions. Low latency is certainly evolving real time, and it's going to continue to evolve as well. So Streaming Media does actually push those live, and so you can log in and you can actually view those sessions live at Streaming Media. In terms of the interactivity at Streaming Media, I don't know there's a way to actually do that, but please feel free to reach out to us either on our Slack channel or directly to support to ask questions about low latency, and we'll be happy to do that. Probably the easiest way to do it is on our Slack channel, so our live streaming Slack channel. If you'd like to subscribe to that, you can certainly get in, but...
There's a low latency topic there.
Yeah. And by all means, what I've generally found out is if there's a question you're wondering about it, the chances that a lot of other people are wondering about it is right around 100%. So, so please don't feel like there are any stupid questions around low latency. It's definitely evolving at this point.
So Alex is asking where we can find pricing for CDN.
So we have CDN pricing page, so directly on Wowza.com.
/pricing/Wowza-CDN, or you can search for it.
Yeah, and so it will actually list directly there the CDN pricing, and I believe we've also published the estimator as well.
Calculator, yeah. This is true.
Frank is asking for a link to the location where you can sign up for, like, I would assume the Slack community. Where do you go to sign up for Slack?
Let me go grab that real quick while James keeps talking.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and grab that, and we'll put it directly into your reply for your questions, but we'll actually post it so that others can see it, just to get into live streaming.
So it's going to be wowza.com/slack. SLACK. I should have known that.
As we all should have.
It would be that simple. Yeah. Sign up there, install Slack if you don't have it already, and then you can find a low latency channel within that group to submit your question. There's plenty of other channels there as well on all sorts of topics.
So www.wowza.slack. Well,
wowza.com/slack. Correct.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
That's it now.
Okay,
Oh, look.
There's one more.
Alex asks, how low is low latency? Could it be used to live in-venue streaming? That's a good question.
For live in-venue streaming, so low latency streaming. So in terms of how low can it can get pretty darn low, definitely sub 1 second. But there are a lot of things that are actually going to vary, that are actually changed in terms of variables. So in venue streaming, you are not going to need a CDN, which is going to inherently inject some latency. You can use very low latency protocols for the ingest or upload from your camera, so the RTMP, RTSP, as far as the ingest.
But I'm curious, I mean, this probably warrants a longer conversation, whether the in-venue streaming means people are using mobile devices on 4G or Wi-Fi to consume the content, or if not. So probably requires a little bit more conversation. As James said, there's factors that go into it, so it's going to depend, but you can achieve sub 1 second, as James said.
Okay. Did we have any other questions?
Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Well, quality of network matters with low latency. There are techniques and different things you can use to kind of get over questionable quality, network quality, but it's a more complicated conversation, really. You know, theoretically, the answer is yes. There is no yes, you can do this, that kind of situation with low latency. It's kind of, while it's not a new topic, it's still kind of in development and in progress in terms of its capability and enhancement. So it's also going to depend on what's acceptable for you for latency. While we say sub 1 second, you know, is that what you need? Do you really need sub 3 second? So it will, hate to say it, it will kind of depend, and it probably warrants a lengthier conversation.
Okay, great, thanks, appreciate that, sir. Do you have any other questions?
Yes. How to send an incoming stream to Wowza CDN? Any demo? You're about to demo that.
I'm about to demo that.
We are going to demo that in just a second here.
Ben is our straight man, so that's perfect.
Great segue. Or is it a segue?
Is it a segue or?
I think that's actually a great segue to go into actual the demos.
Oh, we do have another. Does MediaDS have frame rate stabilizer included like UVC from Matrox? I don't know the answer to that.
That's something I'd have to look up. I have to admit I don't know that answer either. So we certainly can follow up with that question, or an answer to that question.
Yep, we will follow up. You want me to give Jamie the?
If you could, that'd be great.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm taking it. You can see my screen then.
Yeah.
That's my sign. Or that was my test. Okay, everyone, I'm going to show you how to use Wowza Streaming Engine to connect to Wowza CDN. So I have cheated, but not really cheated. I do have, the first step is really to set up your source and get it published into Engine. I, in this case, have several choices here of cameras that we do a pull distribution into Engine, so Engine will pull from these cameras, and I have this access camera, which is in our office. Currently pulling. I'll show you that real quick just to make sure everything's good. So this is the lovely weather we're having in Colorado here today. This is straight from Engine, Wowza Streaming Engine off the camera. So that's what you're seeing now. So with that said, now I want to push that. I want to publish that to Wowza CDN. So I'm going to go over and use our Stream Targets feature. And I'm going to add a stream target. And I'm going to select Wowza CDN. I'm going to give it a name. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to do single bitrate, although you can push adaptive bitrate out of Engine into Wowza CDN. My source name is going to be the name of my incoming stream, which is access.stream. You have to log in to get this completed. We require this because this validates that you actually have Wowza CDN services. So I do a quick login. If you have multiple accounts, you can pick one. I don't need to pick, well, the default is good. And then I click add this target. I copy my URL. So it's a little crude today, but we're working on making this a little more seamless, but I have to copy my URL out. I have now I want to go back to the stream target list. What I can see, I can verify that it's active. That's a good sign, a green dot. Now what I can do is the feature that James mentioned earlier about Wowza Player integration, just to show you how it plays, I can go over here to Wowza Player. This page, what we're doing here is I'm entering a URL to play off Wowza CDN. I can launch the player builder. And from here you can see that what it did was just make it a little easier to populate by populating the source URL into the player configuration. I can hit update. And there's a preview window in this builder, so now I can hit play, and there you go. So that is playing off Wowza CDN.
All right, great. So
that's the Wowza CDN demo.
So some of the really cool things or important things to note in there. So it generated that playback URL for you so that you could actually lift that, and then we were able to launch Player directly from Manager as opposed to having to go to player.wowza.com. Yep. And it auto-populated that URL that you used as yep. well, pulling straight off the CDN.
Correct. I won't be able to do an Ali demo completely, but I can show that if we want to show that real quick, just what's required.
I think it's actually, I think it's worthwhile for us to show.
Okay. So as another alternative to publish out, again, what's nice about this is I can publish in sort of a syndicated approach to different destinations. Simultaneously, I could also publish to various other locations, one of which could be the Alibaba Cloud CDN. I don't have my settings memorized, so I'm not going to be able to show you, but it's as simple as putting all these basic settings that most of these stream target configurations require in, like giving it a name again, giving it the source name, which would, again would be access.stream, Alibaba. Give it some settings on the destination side. Again, what you're doing is pushing, you're basically publishing RTMP into Alibaba, and they're going to then repackage it as HLS out. And then I would click add this target, and as soon as I did that, again, I could fill in a few things here, just it won't work. So I could hit add this target. I would go back to make sure that it's working. It won't work because I didn't enter the right info, but if I had, it would work, and then I could actually go into Wowza Player, and I could paste the URL again, and away I go. So that's a quick and rough demo of how to deal with Alibaba as another stream target.
Very cool. So in addition, you have your other stream targets set up. We can push to Alibaba as well, and then give you access to their very robust egress or delivery network in China to be able to push and expand your region there as well too, and somebody that's already embedded and compliant with whatever needs they have for doing business there as well.
So Ben asked Jamie, is the URL that was generated static? If yes, what can we do to secure that stream so that only selected people can watch it?
Let me go look at that question because I want to understand what else. Is that URL generated static? So the Wowza CDN URL, the edge URL, is not static. It's created based on publishing in, and it's dynamically generated. So, but what can be used to secure both publish and playback to Wowza CDN is you can leverage SSL with HLS. So you can do an HTTPS layer with HLS and protect it that way.
And then Egbert, I think, wanted to know when you're putting multi-audio setup into UI.
Did you have another comment to finish that?
I wanted to make one more comment on the first one real quick. So selected people can watch it. So that would lend itself more to an IP whitelist kind of situation or a geo-targeting situation. If I understand it correctly, there are lots of other ways that you could restrict user access to content in general. There are those features under the hood. I would have to come back to find out whether we could. They're not set up. You can't set them up through the user interface today. I'd have to find out if we could set those up on the back end. So there may be a possibility there. Because what I just described about SSL or HTTPS is not targeted at users. That would just be protecting more of the transmission of the content by encrypting it. So, okay, and then
Multi-audio setup in the Wowza Streaming Engine.
Multi-audio. I don't have a timeline for that right now, so we'll have to just kind of keep watching. That kind of setup remains obviously possible, but as far as UI exposure remains on their backlog, but I don't have a timeline yet. So
okay. Scott asked, have the API pricing changed based on this new direct pass-through Wowza CDN Akamai? I'm not seeing pricing updates on the site as of yet.
So I'm confused by API pricing. We don't charge for APIs. So I think we need some clarity there.
Yeah, good point. It's the CDN pricing that's changed.
So, yeah.
CDN pricing is on the website. I just went there.
Yeah, the only pricing that's actually changed is just the bandwidth or egress pricing from CDN.
So he's asking about Wowza Streaming Cloud API pricing. Is that the same? And yes, that's the same, right?
Right. This would not be.
This is
unrelated to the cloud functionality from that perspective. Yeah. Wowza CDN in this case is treated as a separate product, featured product, whatever we want to call it. It's unrelated to cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Now the stupid question comes.
No stupid questions.
Which version of Wowza are you running?
I am running 4.7, as you can see here. Oh, hold on. I did stop sharing. Now I'm sharing again. So I am running 4.7, which is required for seeing and using both Alibaba and Wowza CDN from the manager or the UI. Those features were available from a back-end XML kind of configuration approach prior to 4.7, but 4.7 becomes the first release for the UIs, where they're exposed in the UI.
4.7 is also required for the media cache VOD workflow, pushing to player.
Player integration, yeah. Yep.
Okay, those are the questions.
All right, so Did you want to take some time and go through the actual VOD push to player?
I don't have a media cache set up,
Okay.
given this box that I had to use last minute, but basically if you had media cache setups here, hopefully I'm still sharing,
Yeah.
and then you came over to a Vod application. Collapse for me. Collapse. Sorry, wrong. And I come down to Vod, and I go to Wowza Player. You would basically have the ability, you would see them show up here, and you would have the ability to enter those path components, and then you would be able to launch the builder here. Whoop, apparently I can't be blank, so I can't show you how it would move over. So you'd have similar path elements here that reflect, obviously, to local storage, but reflect media cache with remote storage. And you would hit launch player builder, and it would do the same thing. So the mechanism is the same as the live. It just you would have to have some media cache configurations set up already to have them selectable here. Right.
Okay. All right, let's see. So we have one more question from Ben. Will it make my server use significantly more resources if I publish the stream to CDN? The answer to the question is no. In terms of actually pushing to CDN will not significantly increase the resources of your server. You are essentially, there is a single stream that you're going to push to the CDN, and it's going to actually act as a multiplier to actually enable more endpoints. So what you're literally going to do is you're going to reduce the number of streams you're actually going to have to push outbound. So you will push all the renditions to the CDN, and then the individual people will connect and pull from the CDN. So theoretically, it should actually reduce the server resources required.
And then Alex had a question of what targets do you currently support? Jamie is going to our stream targets screen.
So recently, in a previous version, we reordered these options. I'm going to hide something so I can shrink the screen to show you them all on one page. So these are the choices we have today. So we have our Wowza destinations at the top. So you can go engine to engine, you can go engine to cloud, and then you can go engine to Wowza CDN. So 3 options for Wowza destinations. Then we have our what we call our third-party target destinations, which include Akamai, Alibaba, Facebook, Limelight as a CDN, Mirror Image as a CDN, Tata as a CDN. That's the Big Gravity CDN, and then YouTube Live. And then we have our generic target destinations, which are for audio streams. You can do IceCast publishing out. You can do an MPEG-DASH in a generic sense, RTMP in a generic sense, or RTP and Shoutcast is another, which is another audio-only publishing format. And it's important to note that you can use any of these where a specific target profile doesn't exist for us today. So, for example, we do have and can support people publishing to Twitter/Periscope using generic RTMP is the way we do it today. We haven't added an official profile in here to go straight there, but you can do it by entering the same information in generic RTMP. So, and we believe the same. We got the question the other day on Instagram. The same would apply there. Potentially, so we're looking into that one. Although that may be custom because, like Facebook, it might have a custom API in front of it. So,
can you go back to stream targets for just a second there? We only have a few minutes left here, but just wanted to drill in. So, in terms of the different types of stream targets, so obviously we have engine to go ahead and scale out your origin or build your own edge network for specific type workflows, and so people talked about, lower latency sort of things, and certainly that would be one way to help you do those sort of things. Wowza Streaming Cloud, doing things like being able to, when we talk about workload, you can do things like offload some of that transcoding workload during burstable periods or burst time periods or high traffic periods there. So definitely, Wowza CDN we went pretty much in depth to, so just the global delivery in terms of being able to scale out that, managing persistent connections, shortening that last mile for a better user experience. And then lots of other CDNs we've got here too as well. So Akamai, Limelight, Mirror Image, Tata, Alibaba Cloud. Definitely in terms of additional CDNs, so you can actually leverage multiple CDNs in a redundant sort of workflow. Then Facebook Live and YouTube and Icecast, Shoutcast, literally syndicating your content through those popular services, but literally simplifying your workflow here to deliver those sort of things. And then some very flexible things in terms of generic targets, so MPEG, TS, RTMP, RTP. So in terms of actually building your own stream targets for things that literally aren't covered in the things that we've predefined. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of just a way to look at them.
So Ben had another question.
Okay.
Can I track the current number of viewers for individual streams?
So the total number of viewers. There are a couple ways to look at that. So we certainly have some stream analytics too. You can actually see the amount of traffic going on. Through Player, Player does actually include some analytics that we will be expanding in the future. And through Player, we'll actually tell you how many independent viewers or how long people actually watch stream and how many people actually view that stream. So with the Player integration, use that embed code outbound, that will actually track and give you information in terms of how many people are actually watching individual streams.
It's going to depend. Another example of future work is in Wowza CDN, we'll actually expose another tab that down the road here that will show you real-time and historic statistics, really basic stuff as well. So you'll be able to see that when you're using Wowza CDN. The job API has other stream level data you can extract to. So it just depends on.
Yeah, and Ben's talking specifically about CDN.
Yeah,
so.
CDN, okay. Yeah, we have another phase where we're going to actually throw another, if I go over there real quick. Sorry, let me go to the one I've created. Once you've created one, you're going to have another tab up top here that'll say analytics, and you will get some basic real-time historical analytics there, and that'll include viewer counts. So you will get that kind of information in the future. You just don't have that yet.
Okay. It doesn't look like we have any more questions right now, and we just about exhausted our time. But once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today as part of our update for spring regarding our product line in terms of what we've got new in terms of additional features as well as some additional product offerings. Thanks everybody for joining us. Very shortly we will be making this as an on-demand asset available that you can view from wowza.com. And that will be, everybody who's actually signed up for this webinar will be notified when that is actually made available. But once again, thanks for joining us. If you have the opportunity to drop by at Streaming Media East or the DevWeek Hackathon, we will continue to keep updates as far as different events we're having as well. But once again, thank you for joining. Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Jamie. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James. Thanks, everyone.